Hello, everyone, and we are back after a great length of time off from talking to all of you. We are back to discuss 3 episodes of the Victory House Mole Season 3. I am one of your hosts, Drew, as always, joined by my co-host, Zach.
Howdy, Drew. How's it going?
You know, it's great. I have been waiting to talk about these episodes since they came out. Once that break hit in the season, we got busy. And so now we're back for a mega episode. We have like 4 or 5 guests to get through, and we have a lot to cover in this season of The Mole.
Yes, it's going to be an exciting, jam-packed night. So buckle in, everyone. Thank you again for tuning in. If you are watching live or if you are watching later on, thank you. We're almost to the end of this, so
The next episode's the finale.
So spoiler alerts ahead. If you haven't watched, what are you doing? You need to catch up. But let's go. Let's begin and bring in our first guest of the evening.
Lance.
What's up, everybody?
How's it going?
It's going good. I'm happy to be a part of this, finally be able to talk about my wonderful length of time on the Victory House Mole. As many people know, this is my second season on the Victory House Mole, and I'm ready to dive on in with you guys. I've been listening to how y'all talk about it throughout the weeks, and, it definitely was interesting to see, like we seen it play out, but like just to see people's confessionals and people's real thoughts about you.
Juicy.
Yeah.
Yes, so let's jump in and start off with episode 6, which is our Western-themed episode.
Hee-haw, y'all.
I'm not much of a Western movie watcher, but we're here, and let's talk about it. So we jump into the episode, and Katie mentions that people are actively starting to target each other, and we're at that point of the season where everybody's playing hard. And then, of course, we find out that we're in a Western theme, and we split off into 2 groups. We have the Blackjack group and the Trivia group. So let's jump into Lance's group. Lance, you did Trivia. Tell us about that.
Yeah, immediately when it was like Blackjack or Trivia, I'm like, I don't know nothing about cards, really, to be honest, unless it's like Uno, Face 10. So for me, Trivia was like exactly what I wanted. Like, I'm someone who feels that I'm a trivia buff in certain aspects. I feel like I can hang with the best of them. So it was like, hey, trivia, I need something real good, real fast. Let me get me some, possibly a place on the silver screen, something. Because we know at this point, Lance has not.
Right. Well, you definitely got something out of that trivia. As we progress through the trivia questions, it is Lance, Josh, Sabrina, and Joel answering these questions. And Zach, I'm sure you have written down statistics of how everyone did.
I had a little bit. I know, this was the gross food comp.
Yes.
And so, I didn't, obviously they didn't know going into it, but it's always a fun surprise when you go into a gross food eating comp. If they get it wrong, they had to eat the gross food. If they finished the beat mix in 20 seconds, they got a clue to a joker, was the nice drop in that. I wrote down Nathan and Katie drink it, is what I wrote.
I have Katie succeeds, and then I have Josh and Nathan also succeed. Lance attempts to eat.
Yeah, as you said, attempts to eat. Many people may know, like, I've been around the live game block a little bit, and the one challenge I always tell people is my Achilles heel is gross food eating. So, like, I was excited about trivia, but then to find out that it involved gross food eating, my nerves, I'm like, okay, yeah, set me up. Good job, Carlo. I'm proud of you. So I immediately knew, like, if it's not me getting them right, Lance is not doing it. So for the most part, I was getting questions right, but then it came down to that little beat situation, and just the look of it, the smell of it, I knew it was the done for me. As you could see, I was freaking gagging like crazy. Like it's just not for me. So I was like, hey, no joker chip for me.
I would have been right there with you, Lance. I think that would be my Achilles heel too. I cannot do weird textures or smells or anything like that. So I'd be right there.
Yeah, definitely understand that one. And then on the Blackjack task, we have Nathan, Jamie, Jeremy, Katie, and Steven. And basically, they are playing Blackjack in attempts to earn as much money as possible. And overall, they ended up losing $30.
Yes.
But I will say, Jeremy by himself earned 20, which is great. So yeah, those were our two tasks for the first section of the episode. And then we have, moving forward, the jail mission.
Yes.
Which was Nathan, Jeremy, Sabrina, Katie, Josh, and Joel. And basically, they were all like tethered together, like they were in a jail cell. And they had to search for 3 keys to open a trunk with scissors to cut themselves free, and envelopes with information to get bags of money and escape.
Yes.
That's a lot. I didn't understand this task at first, so it took me like going back to listen to the rules to get it. But I don't know. Zach, what were your thoughts on this task?
I liked it because it's very telling. There were 6 bags, 9 total agents that were participating in it. So I know there was $57 in one and $100 in each of the others. And that's how the group decided they wanted to divvy that up. So that was an interesting way of doing that as well.
And a lot of people, we did get a lot of confessionals about people being weary of like who got what envelope because they didn't want it to be mismanaged. Which was interesting. I don't know, Lance, what did you hear about this task?
Honestly, just like how you say you was confused, like when they came to tell us what the task was and trying to explain it to us, I'm like, what? And then even when I rewatched the episode, I'm like, okay, I kind of get it a little bit more. But at that point, so much was going on in the house with like suspicions, not full trust, even people that's in your coalition giving you shady answers. Like Josh was someone early in the game that was really, supposed to be diehard. I'm one of the only people he knew coming from TLWL. Me, him, and Dre was like a solid 3. Then I had my Katie's and Joel and stuff like that. And Josh would be very, I don't know, he was just playing it like really wishy-washy, like it was a game of Big Brother. So it caused me to put a lot of doubts in a lot of things that he was telling me. So him trying to explain it, it kind of went in one ear and out the other. And I just wasn't here for it.
Right.
Yeah.
So in this task, we end up with 2 people getting jokers. And honestly, so their penalty for taking the jokers is that they lose 20% of the money in their bag. That is, I feel like that's like not a punishment. Like, obviously do that.
No brainer.
Because at the end of the day, I don't know if y'all know that. Y'all do know that. With the pot, like if I'm taking money from it, I only lose it. Like it doesn't really affect like the whole.
It doesn't
cast.
affect the group, right?
Yeah, the whole cast. So it's kind of like at the end of the day, if I win and I took this money from the pot, that's okay. I did it. It's not like I'm mad that Sally Sue took $100 away because at the end of the day, it all boils down to me.
Exactly.
Right. So then moving forward, we have the shootout task with Jamie, Steven, and Lance. And basically, you guys are in a one-on-one battle to shoot over cups with Nerf guns. And Lance, you're the only one of the 3 who succeeded.
Exactly.
We love to see
that Maycene.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think I was the last person to go, and they both did really bad. But I strategically put myself in that group because when the group was first getting put together, I was not originally in that group, and I was like, no, hey, I switched out. I don't know what alliance member I switched out with, my coalition member. I was like, hey, I want to do this task because at that point, those were 2 of my highest mole suspects with Jamie and Steven. At that point, I was pretty much coalitioned with everyone else, or I had hate with other people, such as Nathan. So I really knew a lot of where their heads was. I was getting a lot of information. Obviously can't be too right because I'm sitting here on episode whatever. So we'll see how it all pans out in the end. But that was just my 2 mole suspects. And I want to get in a group and learn a lot about them because they were working very closely together. So throughout that task, like they was coming back saying, oh, it was so hard. We had to face a hard person. And I get up there. And mind you, it wasn't an easy task, But if you stay focused, it was like boom, boom, bang, bang. Like
It seems like
wasn't.
it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. But I will say, I mean, Zach and I have both been since week one, like very sus of Jamie. And then like I've been recently pretty sus of Steven. And we saw either last episode, the episode before this, or 2 episodes ago, where Steven used his advantage that he bought. And it seems like everybody was on Jamie's case. So that doesn't surprise me at all that Jamie and Steven were the ones to fail. But yes. While we're on the topic of Nathan, I know this is in the next episode, but let's talk about the flashback that happens in the next episode of you and Nathan. Tell us like what kind of like built up to that confrontation and what happened with all that.
Make me remember the flashback. Was it like the flashback from like when we was arguing after the
yes.
remote?
It was you. Yes, you were confronting Nathan, and Nathan was just standing there.
Yeah, because as y'all could see from the episodes, Nathan had a lot to say about people in his confessionals, but not to their face. And that's something that I've addressed with my castmates as I've been seeing the episodes, because Nathan left a very bad taste in my mouth. And at that point, people know me. I'm gonna speak my mind if I get to my boiling point. And for me, I was aligned with Sabrina, but never trusted Nathan. So I slowly stopped giving Sabrina information, and just stuff with Nathan just would come across real shady, because for me, I don't have to work hard to be a star. And I feel he, most of the time, was trying to do things to try and be the star. And he felt really threatened by me most of the time. And our personalities just don't click. He was someone who always wanted information but wouldn't give information, and I'm the type of person at the end of the day, people know me, my original season of Mole, I am quoted as the original villain of Victory House Mole, and I play this game as is the mole, not Big Brother. So I'm not about to sit there and give you every piece of information. And he get mad when I confront, like, hey, how about you give me that information first and I'll give you what I know. And that he would never want to, because at the end of the day, he's trying to be the star and trying to make it as far as he needs to. I could go out episode 3 and still be known, and you can make it to wherever you make it, and people will forget about you tomorrow.
Sure. It was very interesting to see that confrontation, because I feel like as a viewer, we didn't get much build up to it. And then like we were suddenly in it, which honestly, I asked for a confrontation weeks ago. So I'm glad we got something.
And also that mooing competition, the Lasso competition, got real hot and heavy, because in the competition, you know, I wound up winning, but certain things he was doing, when I do it, it's a problem. When I'm pulling fast or like blocking him out with my hip, it's a problem. When he do it, I literally wind up scraping myself in the competition. But did you hear me cry? And it's just certain things about him that just didn't run me right.
Sure. Yeah. Let's get to the lasso wrangling. So basically for this mission, people were facing off 2 at a time. And also, before we get into the competition, Steven and Jamie are forced to sit out by Joel, because Joel bought an advantage from the spy supply and had them sit out. We also have Katie injuring herself on Sabrina, or Sabrina accidentally injuring Katie. That was very interesting. And then Lance, really you win.
Yeah, the injury part was real serious, because Katie and Sabrina was like the first round, and literally it happened, and like she batted her in the eye, and Katie was just like, "Oh my God, y'all, I literally can't see." And the worst thing, like as someone who worked on many different live games and stuff like that, injuries are something that we get like super scared about real quick. It's like, halt everything, let's focus, let's get it. And it's like everyone was on standstill, like, "Are you okay? What you need us to get?" And Katie was really having a moment. We was just like, okay, do we are we going to move on? You know, all Sabrina could keep doing is apologizing. And we all just felt bad for Katie, because it seemed really serious.
Yeah. Accidents happen. And unfortunately, you know, she still has her sight. She's still in it. So, you know.
And then Lance, you end up winning. You were doing so well this episode. You got executed.
It was definitely a high moment for me throughout this whole episode, because actually throughout the whole season, because I felt like I was doing what I did things differently than my original season. I was being a little bit more forthcoming with information and trusting people more than my original season. I came to play. I put my effort in every competition. That's just the competitor in me. And the competition was fun. I enjoyed it. I won. It's time to go to Spy Supply. And that's where things get a little sticky with this season, a little bit of like insider tea. So like I have options for the Spy Supply, and I'm like asking for specifics on each thing because you want to make sure like, hey, okay, I'm picking this, but as someone who work on live games, I always have that like, what if like this, the like yin and yang of it. So I'm like, okay, so if I pick this, am I getting audio? Like, as you saw, the item I picked was the item where I get to spy on someone taking their quiz.
Right.
For me, I know how vocal I am when I take a quiz. So either if you're the mole, you're not going to be vocal, or if you're a real contestant, you're going to be like mapping yourself through it, or maybe you're just an amazing ass mole where you're just going to fake it till you make it. So I felt like me just being able to hear audio was a check mark for me, and it was about to cash me my check for the season. And I was originally told yes. But when I went to take my quiz and got to see my video, it was just visual.
Oh, okay.
So, as the person I am, I respect everything, everyone's production. I threw it to the back of my head. This is like my first moments talking about it, besides to some of the production. But it just made me like, dang, I could have chose a different option that probably could have benefited me a little bit more. Because they had items of where I could have had 2 jokers, things like that. Because at that point, I was stuck in between a set of people. And I knew if I go, when it got to that point of the game, I went all in on one person, especially after my video, the video. So if I had those joker chips instead, I could have took the quiz how I've been normally taking it, which has got me to this point, which is deep in the game, and just stack those 2 joker chips where I know I'm going to the next round and be able to get information from my coalition afterwards. So it just was a little bit of like to go out in that round when that happened, but it was a fun experience overall. The mole has my heart. Carlo, I love him so much. Jessica, Ben, and Craig. Like, it was an amazing experience. I had a great time. And to be asked back, first of all, shows. I'm an all-star. I'm an icon. And people want to see my face always.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, you were definitely one of the bigger, more noticeable characters in the season. Since episode 1 with you versus Evan, like you had me hooked immediately, and we both loved watching you. So moving forward, we do go to the execution, and Lance goes out, and Joel is a little shook. Joel's confused. He has no idea what that seems to be a recurring theme with Joel through the season, of Joel being confused, which I love.
Joel being confused, or is that Joel being the mole?
We'll have to see.
So, Lance, before we move on to the next episode, I want to ask you, do you know where you went wrong in your quiz?
Oh, 100%. I know exactly where I went wrong. And when the finale happened, y'all are going to see exactly where Lance went wrong. And you're going to be like, you're going to obviously see where everyone went wrong, but you're going to see like, whoa, okay. It's going to be a good one. I will tell y'all. So make sure y'all, stay tuned, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Yes.
We're excited to see. Are there any other like stories or moments that happen in the season that you would like to maybe discuss with us, or anything we missed in the episode?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't really think it's showing how in the house we were such a, yes, when the game is on, the game is hot and heavy, people are in their modes, but this cast was so tight knit. Many people didn't see us dancing a little mix almost every night. Many people didn't see us like just becoming a big happy family. And that's one thing I go into these live games looking for, people that I could tap into outside of the game and be like, oh my God, I made a close-knit friend that I'm gonna keep in contact with moving forward. And a lot of people in this cast have been lights in my life since then. And I just, I love that about these live games.
Definitely. I think we're definitely going to be getting into that on episode 8 for sure.
Yes.
And to tap into a little part that I wrote down specifically from this episode, because I like to see people's journeys in this game. And Katie did have an emotional confessional about how proud she was in trusting herself, because outside she doesn't really do that. And it was a huge growing experience for her. And that was like a moment that I had to put down, that I had to talk about, because her amazing growth from last time to this time is just incredible. And I know that there's a lot of people that are rooting for her at this point.
Yeah, and that's definitely the mindset of us as returnees, me, Joel, Parker, and Katie. You know, whether any of us was the mole or not, when we had those conversations initially, we was like, you guys, our goal is to beat our former placement. At the end of the day, you always want to improve and know that you're moving in the right direction. The mole is not an easy game. It's all about intuition. It's all about paying attention to things. And sometimes you get clouded by the emotion that you connect with these people. So that's all of our goals was to do better, because we were joking about, we were the two sets of fourth boots and two sets of first boots. It was hard. It was hard to sit there, you know, but yeah.
Well, Lance, it was great to hear from you and some of your perspective. It was so much fun to watch you this season. Like I said, you had both of us hooked from the first episode, as I'm sure you did with many of the other viewers. And yeah, we hope to see you on All Stars when that season happens. Maybe as the mole.
Lance is a mole. I mean, people thought I was the mole in both seasons at some points or sometime. But I just want to say thank y'all so much for having me. Be on the lookout, you guys. In 1 month and 2 weeks, Untitled Productions presents Mayhem Manor Season 4. It's going to be a doozy. It's the 4th season, and we're bringing it to y'all live from Orlando. And it's going to be broadcast on the Live Reality Game page as well. So make sure y'all look out. And join the page so y'all can look out to be part of future seasons, or maybe might squeak into this one. You never know. So thank y'all so much for having me.
Of course.
Thanks, Lance.
Thank you.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, we are going to move forward to episode 7, which is Who Killed Roach LaRoche? And joining us from episode 7, we have some of our, maybe just one. Yes, Jeremy. We have Jeremy here.
That's Jeremy, but
hi,
great,
Jeremy.
Jeremy. Hi.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're thriving. How are you doing?
I'm having a great time. It's a good day. It's hot. It's comfy. I'm chilling. It's good day.
Awesome.
Amazing. So let's jump into this episode. We have Film Noir, which I've never watched a film noir movie. I don't know about y'all, but I do
Hollywood crime dramas. I actually had to look it up just to be sure I knew what it was.
Which I'm all about crime drama. I love mysteries, but not like film noir. Never really been into that. So we get into it, and immediately we are faced with a murder mystery of who killed Roach LaRoche. So Jeremy, do you want to break this down for us a little bit about how this mission worked?
Yeah, so pretty much the episode started. We were all crowded in a room. We were shown the Roach video that you all saw. And we were like, here are the suspects. You guys each need to interview one of them for 1 minute. You get 1 minute. And then you had to find out which person fit all 3 of the necessary requirements to have murdered Roach LaRoche. And then eventually everyone else as well. So it was just like really exciting. It was very fun, and we messed up, but like it was incredible, and the performances from the eliminated players were amazing.
Yeah, it's always great to see them again. I thought this was a very fun task. This is probably one of my favorite tasks from the season so far. I liked that production gave you guys the opportunity to go interview the person and then come back to the group and discuss before the next person went.
Yes.
I don't know, Zach, what were your thoughts on this task?
I thought it was very fun. For every correct vote, they did get $5, which was cool. And that, I don't know, I also like the integration of, production and executed players in the game. It makes things a lot more interesting, a lot more fun for everyone. So I love the storyline of this whole mission.
For sure. In this mission, we see Sabrina take charge and fail. To put it, like, just to be direct, she says that she's good at like logicking these things out and putting pieces together, and we see her unfortunately not able to do that. I don't know, Jeremy, can you give us maybe some more of the behind the scenes of you guys trying to piece this together?
So after you would interview people, you'd come back and you'd get a few minutes to talk with everybody. And they showed a few clips of people talking after they interviewed people.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was we just asked bad questions. Like how we asked and what we asked was just not good. And I don't think any of us were really prepared for how over the top some people were, or how not helpful they were being. So it's just kind of like a conglomeration of fail where we our game plan sucked and we weren't fully prepared for not getting it all from the like other people.
So an excellent mission for the mole.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
Well,
Absolutely.
I do have written down the pairs. So we have Katie, who interviewed Lance. Jeremy, you interviewed Audrey. Sabrina was with Stacy, who was absolutely over the top, and I loved every minute of it. Shout out Stacy. Joel was with Ryan. Josh was with Dre. Steven was with Michelle. Jamie was with Jess, and Nathan was with Evan, who was another fun one. Evan was very fun to watch. And of course, everybody places their guesses. What was the vote distribution for that?
It was 4 Lance, 4 Michelle.
Well, none of those were correct,
No.
because the players are then told that they need to rush downstairs to find the killer, and they run downstairs, and Ryan has killed all of the other suspects, and Ryan ends up being the killer, which means $0 were earned in this task. But at least nothing was like lost. It could have been worse, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this task was pretty difficult. I think you guys were pretty, or not lucky. I was gonna say you guys were lucky, but I think production did a good job because I feel like the next task was pretty easy compared to a lot of the other tasks that you guys have gotten. But I don't know. Jeremy, what were your thoughts overall on this task, having been a part of it?
So, firstly, for how like thrown together it was, because like Lance was just coming fresh off of being executed and immediately thrown into this. So how well everything was coordinated within like the 12 people that like did it was like, it was insane. It was just like super well done. There was only one little error where I wasn't given some information that I was supposed to be given based on the question I asked, but it ended up not mattering because I was interviewing Audrey and it just didn't help anything. But it was just like a conglomeration of fail. Like we sucked. The mole really didn't have to do anything. We kind of just drove ourselves off of a cliff. But like sometimes it just happens in the mole, so you just gotta take the lumps.
Yeah, I definitely think this was a great opportunity seeing those eliminated players again. Love the integration of them. And then we get some confessionals in between tasks. We get a lot of confessionals of players irritated at each other and the questions that they asked during the task. Like, why didn't this person do better? And so there's a little bit of suspicion and frustration that's starting to come out. I assume by this point, you guys have been together for how many days? Like 4 or 5 days? 3 days?
3 days.
So like you guys are tired because you've been doing this all day. You've been living with each other. You're frustrated. Yeah. So that was interesting to see. We get a confessional from Katie. We've been getting a lot of Katie. Last episode, Lance mentioned that Katie had her breakthrough moment. This episode, Katie's really emotional about Lance having left. So Katie's starting to become a breakout star. She's been pretty quiet up until this point. And then we get the Lance versus Josh and Nathan flashback, where Josh and Nathan are kind of standing there like, and Lance is getting out his stress and telling them that they need to do their thing while he's going to do his thing. That was fun. I don't know. Zach, what were your thoughts on this section of the episode?
I had put down that Lance confronts Nathan and Josh, talking about him behind his back, and Katie uses her Joker chip and might have sent Lance home. So, which is very interesting because it's we knew early on, based off of one of the interviews, that a lot of these quizzes were going to come down to time.
Yeah.
And so when we hear that, you know, a Joker is in play, it can easily send somebody home just like that. So,
and at this point in the season, there are a lot of Joker opportunities. There are a lot out there. People have their spy supply advantages, so anything can happen.
yes.
And anybody can go home except the mole. Jeremy, I want to ask you, what was the house reaction when you heard this big confrontation? Or did you guys know it happened or what?
So, like, you could hear stuff in the house, and especially in that bedroom. So most of the people, it was just those three people, just those three in the room, and everyone else kind of heard like murmurs, like just like the house was shaking, like shit was about to go down, and we didn't know what it was. We just knew that we just kind of presumed, oh, these people are in a room together, and it's probably not a good thing that's happening, and it ended up being less of a big deal than everyone thought, but it was still like the tipping point, and. It was really hard not being like involved in it, but seeing it really helped me. Like, it was really good seeing it. I really enjoyed seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So moving forward, we have the Unusual Suspects mission, which involves Sabrina and Steven electing themselves as the investigators. And they are given 12 pictures of sort of mashups of the players' faces. And out of those 12, 3 of them are the suspects.
They're working for the mole.
Working for the mole. And the rest of you are given 9 photos and have to communicate what the photos are over walkie-talkie to Sabrina and Steven so they get the correct 3. It seemed for the most part like you guys got through this really easily and just nailed it and got the money. I don't know. What was that like in the real time, Jeremy?
It was exactly as you put it. It was Steven and Sabrina, they were upstairs in a room, and everyone else was downstairs. We had to find the pictures first, and then we had to describe what they were to Sabrina and Steven. And Sabrina just was glued to the walkie-talkie. It was just Sabrina, typical Sabrina as we've all seen. She loves being front and center. She loves being in charge. So communication was really easy. No one had any issues. We found all the pictures. We described it pretty perfectly. And I don't know, yeah, it was very easy, but like it was cool. Like anytime you have some face mashups, it's creepy, but it's fun.
When is somebody in these games going to stop Sabrina from being the front runner or the handler or the negotiator or the investigator? When?
Especially, I was kind of like, okay, Sabrina just massively led to a failure on the last task. Why are we putting her in a power position again? But I don't know. I like Sabrina, so no shade towards her, but just from a viewing point.
Yes.
We then get a confessional from Joel about how he keeps losing all his coalition partners back to back to back. And again, more confused Joel. The running gag of the season is Joel being confused and not having any idea what's going on.
And their pot has increased to 557.
Yes, 557, which is that's a decent sized pot.
Beautiful.
Love to see it.
And Steven and Sabrina did get all 3 suspects correct.
The group won the task together.
Yes.
It seemed like pretty easily, pretty handily. So that was good to see. Then we get the individual task, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I love Dead Last. For anyone unfamiliar with Dead Last, it's kind of like Survivor on steroids. Basically, everyone has a different color, and there's a timer set. And at the end of the round, everybody has a set of cards with everyone's colors on it. You put one face down, you flip it. Whoever has the most votes for their color is eliminated. Also, if you didn't vote for the majority, you're eliminated. But if you think that the majority of votes are going to turn on you, you can play an ambush card. And in that case, anyone who didn't vote with the majority is still out, but you get to stay in and eliminate someone who did vote for you with the majority.
Fun.
Yes, it's very interesting. There are lots of different ways you can play. You can play where you have to do silent rounds. You can play where you can move around the house. Love Dead Last, one of my favorite games. So we see in the end that Joel wins by ambushing the majority, and he gets to choose between who?
Sabrina and Jamie.
Jamie, yep.
Yes, and Joel chooses Sabrina, which, again, why are we letting Sabrina have all the power? But, okay. So they get to both go to the spy supply, and Joel is just like, yeah, I'm taking the 2 free jokers. That's just what it is.
Yep.
And Sabrina ends up taking the scene stealing token. Zach, can you explain what that is?
The scene stealing token is they earn a joker, and they also earn the ability to replay if they are eliminated from a mission.
Which is very interesting. That seems like a very Sabrina thing to want to do.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure everybody does not suspect Sabrina in any way, shape, or form as the mole. So why not, if any powers are going to be, given to somebody, give it to her, because we know it's not the mole. So
yes. We then see a sort of like montage of Joel making his rounds pre-quiz because he's lost all his allies. So he's going person to person, Jeremy, you included in that, and trying to get information. At this point in the season, I know we've asked a few people, and we were told like the time between the last mission and the quiz gets shorter each round. How much time do you think you guys were given before this quiz?
Like 20 to 30 minutes, not like a super long period of time, but enough for them to like set everything up and kind of get a little bit of discussion going on. Because of course there's also like fewer people, there's less people, so you need less time, and everyone has like generally narrowed it down to like 1 or 2 people as well, so there's like less to discuss.
Sure. Yeah. So everybody takes their quizzes. It's a double elimination, and Josh and Jeremy both go out. Jeremy, do you know where you went wrong in your quiz?
Oh yeah, 100%, 110%, for sure. Easiest figured out. Like I went downstairs, I talked to other eliminated players like 2 minutes after, and everyone was like, "Yep." It was like, "Yep."
And we also saw Sabrina used her joker, Nathan uses his joker, Joel uses 2 jokers, so 4 jokers being used.
Good for Joel. Good for Joel. After losing all your allies, you got to do what you can. I was gonna ask Jeremy, do you happen to know if it was a single elimination, if it would have been you or Josh that would have gone out?
I no idea. I have no idea.
Okay.
One thing also kind of to note is that Josh was under the weather at this time.
So,
yeah, that's just a small
I think you can kind of tell like the energy level was a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Aww.
So, yes. We also get, at the very end of the episode, Steven telling the camera that he thinks he's solved the silver screen. And Zach and I, mostly Zach, had theories in previous recaps about what the silver screen would mean. So it was good knowing that one of the players maybe had figured it out. So before we move on to the next episode where Steven tells us his thoughts on that, Jeremy, is there anything that happened maybe behind the scenes in the episode that you want to touch on, or any fun stories with the cast?
Everyone in this cast and involved in production, this was the first LRG that I was within like the main LRG community. Hilariously enough, I played an LRG like 3 years ago, like a block down, a Survivor LRG, like from where we played at this one. It was funny because it's like, oh my god, deja vu. I won that one, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna win this one too. We're good. Nope. But everyone in the cast was like 10 out of 10. The crew was 10 out of 10. The location was 10 out of 10. It was a wonderful experience. Anyone and everyone should try it. The Mole is a completely different game. If you've played other social games before, you can literally sit in a corner and tell everyone to fuck off, and you can win the Mole. And that's pretty cool. That's something that you can't do in other games.
Very true.
But it was just such a great experience. And if you ever think about wanting to do this, you should do it.
We would definitely recommend other people doing this. And Jeremy, we hope to see you in more things to come.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes, we would like to see it. Thank you so much for joining us, and we, like I said, we hope to see more from you because you were a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. I am a slow starter, but that's like cool. And I also want to thank you guys for doing this. I've been watching all of the stuff. It's fun hearing outsiders' perspectives and how similarly they think to some people in the game. So thank you guys for doing this. It's been very fun. And maybe in the future, if we all play games together, who knows? I don't know.
Maybe we'll be the final three in something in the future. Who's to say?
Yeah.
Maybe
knows?
I'll
Not
see
me.
you in Michigan Mole. Who knows?
Maybe. Who knows?
Who's to say?
Well, thanks again, Jeremy. Appreciate it. And hope you have a wonderful evening. And maybe we'll have kind of like a whole get together reunion of everybody. I'm sure
Yes,
it's going to
that'd be so
happen.
fun.
So
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks,
have a great
Jeremy.
night.
Yeah. No. Thank you. You too.
All right, so moving forward to episode 8, I believe we have one of our eliminated players from episode 8. We have Katie here. Hi, Katie.
Joel's also popping in and out, so we might see him. Oh, looks like maybe we'll get
We
him
might see
here.
Joel, yes.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
Good. How are y'all?
Good.
Amazing, thriving, as always.
Yes. Important. I know
So,
Joel possibly having internet issues.
Mhm.
so
Yes.
it's gonna-
yes.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Joe comes in or not. I know he's also on his phone, so we'll see what happens with that. So this episode is a mashup episode of themes. We have paranormal and holiday, which is a very interesting combo, I
I
must
love
say.
it.
So the first thing that we get is Steven telling us that he thinks he's solved the silver screen and that he thinks that the silver screen goes to the person who earned the most money in the previous round. Zach,
Yes.
this is similar
Yes.
to what you had predicted.
Because I was saying some sort of point system. I didn't know how this point system would work, but that is the point system, essentially.
Yes. So we eventually did learn that that is the way it kind of works. And that's why Joel got the silver screen so many times. Because if you do look back at all of the footage, he did the first round, even though we were partnered up, he had more points overall. So, and so, yeah. So good job. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, I had no idea. So good for Zach and good for the players who figured that out for figuring it out.
Had no idea, so don't worry.
Yeah. I would have been in the same position as you were. I'm just like, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. Oh well. We then jump into the how to save a life task. And Katie, do you want to kind of break this down for us?
So with the how to save a life, just remind me real quick. Sorry.
Yes,
there's-
The riddles, the one with the
Yeah.
riddles.
So the ghost or paranormal event happened in the basement bathroom, and we had to go down and we were given a riddle that we had to solve. So we could give an answer. If it was wrong, we got a chance to go back upstairs, share it with the group, do a little bit of brainstorming, send somebody back down again. But if they got it wrong, they were eliminated. So there's a little bit of pressure, and some of the riddles, I think I realized after, like, it was like a moment. In the moment, you can't really think as quick on your feet, and you're just not as, like, focused. It's day 3. We were in a little bit of a production rush to begin with, and it's, again, you, like Lance said earlier, that you kind of already have your people narrowed down. So it's not like we didn't care about the challenge, but, like, we weren't sharing as much, we weren't talking as much. We were just like, okay, let's get this going.
And I have questions about this because you obviously, if you got it incorrect, you could send a second person down. If they got it wrong, they were eliminated. How were you all determining who that second person was going down?
Yes, good question.
That's where I kind of regret a little bit of my gameplay. I grew a lot this season, but I still, just from thinking about myself personally, sometimes I don't speak up as much as I should. And for some of those repeat clues, I knew the right answer. I just was too afraid to speak up. And so it was more like, okay, well, who has a guess that somewhat makes sense and somewhat fits this riddle? So they're going to go ahead and go down.
Okay.
I will tell you from my perspective, I thrive on like brain things like puzzles and like riddles and stuff. And like some of them, as soon as they were read, I was like, "It's this! How are they not getting it?" But who knows? Maybe the mole knew more than they were letting on. Speaking of the mole, Jamie, again.
Nice transition.
Yeah, Jamie. Just I don't understand Jamie, because Jamie says that they are good with brain things and then gets all of the puzzles wrong and the riddles wrong and the logic things wrong. Or Jamie says that they're good at like the brain things and then puts themselves in the physical tasks. I don't know. This episode for me was like, okay, if Jamie's not like up there for these people at this point, then something is wrong. But who knows? Maybe it's not Jamie. But Jamie, again, I was just like, okay, typical Jamie.
Yeah, and I think they also tried to challenge themselves a lot this season too, just in personal conversations that I've had with them. Even after the game, they just wanted to fully immerse themselves in this experience and just go for it. So
good for them.
So what was the outcome of this task? I don't have written down like the total.
They failed. They lost $40. Joel, Nathan, and Jamie were the ones that went out in the rounds. So the pot ended this round at $517.
Which is still not bad.
Miss Treasure's with us, and she kept all that money safe the whole entire time.
Yes. I was really hoping there would be treasurer drama.
I thought about it, but coming in, I had certain goals just for myself. And I guess I was selfish in that manner. Like, I just wanted to take advantage of as many opportunities as possible. Just being first out, Agent Porkchop, a la Drag Race. I just wanted to have control over as much of the game as possible. And I kept thinking in the back of my mind, I guess if I steal the money, I can always put it back in if I win before it gets rehanded to me again. But I mean, we were losing money as a team anyway, and sometimes I'm just too damn nice. So
right,
that's okay.
I do want to say I have one more comment about you being the treasurer, and this is jumping back to literally episode 1 where you guys are trying to figure out a treasure, and you're like, Katie, who said that? Like, that was, like, oh, people are saying my name. I love that.
I don't remember who said it first, but then afterwards I was like, you know what? That is a really good idea. And you didn't see this, and people were confused. Like, well, how did Katie get it? I literally just kept screaming, okay, so y'all don't think Lance is the right choice? Me. Nobody has any objections with me? Me. That's my bag. And then it finally was decided that it was me.
Yeah, I love that.
Speak it into existence.
Asserting yourself.
Yeah, I did there.
yeah. So we move on to the holiday portion of the episode. I don't have a name for this mission written down.
It was Christmas stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
holiday stories.
You guys are given some decorative lights to put up and some Christmas stories to read. And immediately people are like, can we leave the room? Can we leave the room? And production's like, I would suggest that you don't. And you guys are like, fine, whatever. We'll just like rush through our stories. I don't know. Can you tell us more about that chaos and that moment?
Well, I think my confessional afterwards with, well, that sucked, really just explained it all. It was, first off, originally supposed to take place at a different time. What Carlo and company put into this production just gets to be so much. So we were given 3 different stories, and within those stories, there was supposed to be a clue as to where to find the money for this mission.
Right.
But some people were just like, you know what? Tired, don't want to listen to the story. I'm just going to go gung-ho and go search. And then even during the mission, production was trying to give us clues, and like, y'all are really sucking at this. At one point, Jess is like, I love snow. I really, really love snow. Snow is the best. And we're just looking at her like, oh.
Snow is the color of white.
Yeah. Like, you need some sleep, darling. But we just never caught on, and it was just bad.
Sleep deprivation, game deprivation, like your
people
mind
getting
is
irritated
just so
with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we find out after the task that the Money was hidden in the freezer, and every time words that would lead you to the freezer were said by anyone, the lights would change colors, which was very interesting. So words like snow, freezing, cold, kitchen, stuff like that would change the colors. And you guys were all just like, oh, got it. Probably should have actually listened to the instructions for the task. But I thought this was a good task. I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
Yeah, I read my story like 1,000 times, and I kept getting faster trying to read it because they're like, just read the story again. Just read the story again. I'm like, I've read this story about 50 times. I'm a teacher. I think I've got the read aloud part down. Like,
right.
Oh, now.
Yes.
After this task, we pretty much jump straight into the quiz. There's not much leading up. Obviously,
there was something from Sabrina, but I literally wrote I could not hear a word that she said.
Yes.
In that. So I have no idea what was going on there. But
Carlo made a note under the video about that section, about how like the audio was messed up.
Oh.
But yes. So we jump into the quiz. And we get lots of group hugging, group crying, lots of emotion, especially from Katie and Joel. Yes, Zach.
I was going to say, before we even jumped into the quizzes, Katie connecting these silver screen clues.
Yes.
This thing, I was like, I looked over at my partner because my partner all of a sudden started joining and watching me, or watching it with me, because he was like, this sounds interesting. But he was like, ooh, I was like, wait, hold on. Katie's connecting these clues here. I love this. And I don't know enough about these people, but that's a testament to your social skills.
Yes.
Getting to know these people enough to be like, oh, this person's from there. They have a connection here. TED Talk this. Genius.
So one thing that I don't think we got to see in the beginning is every agent has a dossier. And so some of those things were questions that were asked of us. So production ahead of time will send us like a list of questions that we have to answer. So like some of them were most embarrassing moment, or pet peeves, or favorite song, celebrity crush. And that stuff comes just from experience from the first season and watching, my limited experience, but just knowing that a lot of times they will do those recall type things. It was just something that was always in the back of my mind to just keep in there, like just remember what people said or what they did, because everything kind of comes back full circle in the mole.
I agree.
I'm really glad that someone pieced something together, because every week Zach and I are here like like we're like Joel after the first silver screen, like what was that? So we go to the execution. Everybody's really emotional because everybody's, first of all, tired. And second of all, everybody loves each other. Like we heard from a lot of the previous contestants, like you guys genuinely got along for the most part. And Katie, your name goes in first and you get executed. Literally, they're like, Katie, are you ready? And you're like, yeah, I'm going to make it to the finale. And then there's like red screen right off the bat. And I was like, that's so mean. Y'all, why would y'all do that to her?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a rough chop there, but you know, I guess it was better than waiting in like till the bottom two. Then I probably would have had a panic attack. So
yes, which is basically what happened to Joel. And then Joel also breaks down. So it was a rough one seeing you two go out together. Joel was one of our bigger characters from the very start, and then your growth edit over like the last 3 episodes leading up to your elimination was amazing. We also lost our treasurer, which sucks, the episode before the finale. So yeah, is there anything, Katie, that we missed maybe behind the scenes from the episode?
Not necessarily from behind the episode, but just something I think is just very important to share about Victory House Productions in general. Part of the reason why this was just so emotional for me was Victory House Productions started in my hometown of Greensboro with a lot of my friends. With just
Greensboro.
Yes, Greensboro. And so now Carlo's kind of taken it over. And I've known Carlo for many years. I've known Ryan, the season 1 winner, since middle school. So I just had then Ben was in my season, Jess was in my season. So I put a lot of pressure on myself to just want to do better and prove to people that I'm not as dumb as I looked. but Carlo has really done a good job. I'm thankful to him for the edits. I think we all are that we had.
Mhm.
He's really tried to tell a story, and I think, like you said earlier, we've gotten to see certain arcs for people that really showed a lot of growth, and there's still a lot left. Even though there's only one episode, there's still a lot left and a lot of entertainment to watch. So
Yes, the editing was great. Everybody has definitely had their moment. We love North Carolina. That's where I live. So, yes, it was great to see you in this season, especially, like I said, these last few episodes, getting to see like your personality come out and seeing how you've grown through the season as a person. But yeah, it was so great to watch you.
thank you. Yeah, and like that's 100% genuine. I am going to be 100% me no matter what, and that is truly growth that I've had. There have been times in my life where I don't trust myself, especially that first season. I know the first season, my first quiz, I split my answers way too far, so I came in with a whole new strategy this time. And recently I played in my first online reality game and did pretty well. So it's just like,
yes,
I think besides for the fact that yes, we all do love each other, like this cast really did help a lot of us grow. So I think that's also a very beautiful part.
And I definitely saw that as well. Obviously, with the emotions that were going on, because I was talking to one of the production members of Michigan Mole, because I'm on that as well. And we were talking about how our season 1 finale, we were like, did anybody cry on that or anything? And this wasn't even the finale, but I explained to him, I was like, you can see how close knit this group was and how much time is put into it and how many hours that they are going in and playing these games. Like it looked like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes that you guys are going until, which is insane for some live games. And others, it's like, oh no, this happens all the time. So we see the hard work. We see everything that this production team does. We see everything that you do as a cast. So thank you guys for doing what you do, because we wouldn't be able to do this without you guys.
For sure. Yes, definitely. Well, Katie, thank you so much. I think Zach and I are now going to jump into, I guess, our final predictions for the season as to what is to come.
I wish we could have had Joel here with you as well.
Yes.
He was having some internet difficulties, but Joel, shout out. I have some money for your LBS, little booty syndrome.
Yes.
So I got you, boo. But yes, thank you, Katie, for being with us. And we'll see you hopefully in the finale episode recap, something like that, maybe soon.
Yes, and hopefully we see you in more live reality games in the future.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm planning on it. It's been fun.
Awesome. Yes, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
All right, Zach, let's get into it.
I have one name, and it's because I had to decide with just one name.
Here's the thing. Is it Jamie? Like, are we sure it's Jamie though?
But
here's my concern. Like, is it actually Jamie, or has this just been a long con from the start?
It's not Sabrina. I know it's not.
It's not Sabrina. I think Sabrina,
I have a feeling, is the winner, because that's how her resume goes. She makes it to the end, she wins.
Yes, but here's the thing: Queen. I agree with you. Sabrina's gonna win. No shade to you at all, Sabrina. Boring winner though. Too obvious. But are we sure it's Jamie as the mole?
I started to think possibly Nathan.
I think it's Steven.
For my reasoning of not Nathan is because of these clues that he's found and that kind of stuff. They really have helped him, and he's worked very close with Sabrina. So I kind of eliminated Nathan as the mole, even though I thought it could potentially down Ben. But Steven is the other portion of this, because Steven and Jamie, I felt like in this game, were one person the whole entire time.
Yeah, because they
like
were the ones
the
that
other
were
one knows
that
the other's the mole. We're going to skate to the end on this, and we just have to beat one other person out on this quiz to get that win. And like, we've been tight together this whole entire time. We've put blame on each other. We've put doubt on each other. And this is the way that we're going to make it to the end. I'm quiet, act like our abilities aren't very strong, but when they really are, I'm just, bluffing.
Right.
So I don't know.
I feel like we're being set up for Nathan to come in fourth, and then Sabrina to win, and everybody expect Jamie to come out as the mole, only for it to be Steven.
Steven. I agree.
I don't know, because maybe Jamie wins. Because Jamie's been working alongside Steven the whole time. If Steven's the mole,
I haven't even thought of that.
Because if Sabrina thinks that it's Jamie and it ends up being Steven as the mole, then maybe Jamie comes out as the winner if Steven's the mole.
Next week's gonna be interesting.
I will say also, I think if Jamie is the mole, which we've suspected from episode 1, I think Steven stands a good chance at winning.
Yes. I think any of this Final Four is very worthy of that title of winner. I think anybody really except Sabrina could be the mole.
If Sabrina's the mole, I'm closing my computer.
Great job.
Yeah, if Sabrina's the mole, then good for you.
You handle every one of those situations and never put anybody on your trail.
Yeah. I don't really see Nathan being the mole. I mean, I mentioned him early on, in our recaps as a possibility, but I feel like Nathan has not gotten much of his edit has not been very forward. Nathan's been a side person in to a lot of other people's stories.
Yes.
So I don't know that I see Nathan really as the mole or as the winner. But yeah, for me,
it's been exciting to watch him though, because he's definitely added many storylines to this.
And Nathan's been involved in a lot.
Yes.
This is very interesting, though. I feel like we're almost going into this finale with a 2 versus 2 because those two pairs have been so tight throughout.
Yes, very true.
I'm excited to see what happens. I'm very excited for the mole reveal. I don't know if it's just been like we said. I don't know if it's just been so obvious that it's Jamie that now we're questioning ourselves,
right?
Or if it actually has just been Steven being super undercover the whole time, and maybe Jamie's just been intentionally throwing the whole time.
We will have to see.
But
Nathan, I would love to see you in a season of Michigan Mole. So come on over, play us sometime, because I've loved watching you play here, and I think that you may have a different story, and may have learned different ways to possibly make it to even further than, who knows? Because we don't know how
maybe Nathan wins.
So maybe Nathan wins. Maybe Nathan's the mole. Who knows?
Maybe we get a really big shocker of
maybe they tie time 10 100% across the board, questions correct, time is exact.
Who knows? Maybe we hit the finale and Sabrina's the mole, Nathan wins, and Jamie's the runner-up. Who knows? Anything can happen.
It can, and we will have to see next week.
Yes.
It airs Monday.
Yes.
So we will try to do a little podcast as close to Monday as possible.
Yes.
So that we can get this information out to y'all as fast as possible.
For sure. Again, thank you everyone so much for watching, everyone who's here live with us, and for those of you who will be watching this later, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you're excited for this finale as we are, because I know that, like I said, we can't wait to see what's going to happen.
Yes, and thank you very, very much, Victory House, Carlo, the entire team, for an amazing season. Season 3, you guys do so much, and it definitely shows, and your episodes are incredible. So
yes.
I'm excited that Drew and I get to sit here and do the easy work and just recap it all for you guys.
Exactly.
So.
I don't know. Taking copious notes is not easy, Zach.
I have a whole notebook, literally.
Literally same. Yeah, but we cannot wait to see you hopefully next week. And thank you again for watching.
Bye, everyone.